Thrones, angels of God's judgment. If the seraphim proclaim God's holiness and the cherubim guard his presence, then the thrones reveal something else entirely. They reveal God's authority in motion. The word thrones appears in Colossians 1:16, where Paul writes that all things were created through Christ and for Christ, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. That single line tells us something crucial. Thrones are not poetic imagery. They are part of the created order of heaven, but the Bible gives us our clearest visual description in Ezekiel chapter 1. Ezekiel sees an overwhelming vision of God's glory approaching. At the center are strange, terrifying beings surrounded by something even harder to describe. Wheels within wheels, covered in eyes, glowing with fire and lightning. These wheels move wherever the Spirit moves. They rise, they descend, they turn without turning. The imagery is not meant to be comforting. It is meant to communicate absolute sovereignty. In ancient thought, a throne was not just a chair. It represented rule, judgment, and authority. That's why thrones are often understood as living expressions of God's judicial power. The way his decisions move from heaven into reality. The many eyes symbolize awareness and discernment. Nothing is hidden, nothing escapes. Unlike other angels, thrones are never shown speaking. They do not deliver messages. They do not interact with humans. They move. They carry, they execute God's will with precision. Some theologians have described them as God's chariot, not because God needs transport, but because his rule is never static. His authority advances, judges, and establishes order. Thrones remind us of something the Bible repeats again and again. God does not rule from a distance. His authority is active, present, and unstoppable. And when Scripture shows us thrones, it is not inviting curiosity. It is calling for reverence, because before any command reaches the earth, before any kingdom rises or falls, before any judgment unfolds, God's authority is already moving.